Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I hope everybody is doing well. Welcome back to our English class. Today, as you can see on your screen, we are going to have sets of exercises to assess your understanding over our discussion in the past few sessions about transportations. So, we did finish all the things that we need to finish. We learned all the vocabulary that we need to learn about transportation. May it be in the land transportation. Let's do a quick review. Again, transportation is how we connect with the world around us. So it includes the land transportation like the car, the bicycle, the bus, what other else? The motorcycle, the truck, the train. Those are the different land transportation which takes us from one place to another place or one location to another location. Aside from land transportation, we also have water transport, which includes the boat, the ship, the ferry, the submarine, the raft, the canoe. Those are the different vocabulary that we can pertain to the water transportation. Okay. And then after that, we also have the air transportation. Uh, we have the airplane, the famous one, the common one, helicopter, hot air balloon, glider, biplane, and jet. Okay. Another one is the public transportation. This includes the bus, but the bus was categorized in the land transportation. So aside from that, we have in public transportation is the subway, the taxi, the tram, the monorail, the cable car, and the trolley. Those are the different transportation vehicle, may it be on the land, the water, and the air. After that, we've also included some, common traffic and road terms. This is just basically basics, okay? Just a few of them, like traffic light, crosswalk, street sign. For safety gear, we have license, helmet, seat belt. Also in road features, we also have the road itself, the word road itself, highway. We also have intersection. And then lastly, for traffic terms, aside from that, from what was mentioned earlier, we have traffic jam, we have speed limit, we also have pedestrian. So those are the different transportation vocabulary that we learned over the past few sessions. I hope everyone is ready for the sets of exercises that I've prepared. So I did prepare five exercises, which includes 10 items each, a total of 50 questions. So I hope everybody is ready to answer all these questions, to answer all these items, because this is our way to assess your understanding of our topic on transportation. Now, if you're ready, please tell me, are you ready for this particular session about transportation exercises or transportation quizzes? You can always use our chat box here. I will constantly um I will be constantly checking it so as to acknowledge any kind of response that you are giving to me. May it be a reply to what I've said, a question, and especially an answer to the item. You can always use our chat box, okay, everyone, so that I can really acknowledge you. I can see that you are participating in this particular set of exercises in this session. Okay. Again, don't forget to use our chat box. Anyway, before we officially start with all these exercises, with answering all these exercises, Let's take a deep breath so as to make ourselves more comfortable and more ready to take on these exercises. Okay, just a simple inhaling and exhaling. Now you let go of all those negative emotions that you've been bringing for yourself. Okay, on my cue, inhale, exhale. Again, inhale, exhale. Okay. I hope everybody is comfortable in their own spaces and is ready to answer. Now, listen to me as we answer the exercises. Okay, so we are going to start with the first exercise, which is entitled category match. Okay, that is exercise one. Basically, we are going to ask you some question, and then there are options that you can choose, and then choose the correct option or choose the correct answer that answers the question. Okay. There will be 10 items for this. So let's start with the first number. What type of transport is bicycle? Oh, bicycle is this one. The one you can see here, that is the bicycle. Now, what type of transport is bicycle? What do you think is bicycle? Is it considered as a traffic term? Is it considered as air transport, land transport, or water transport? Now, bicycle, when do we use it? As you can see here on your screen, that is a picture of a bicycle, right? So bicycle is basically the one that is eco-friendly. Why? Because it is powered by human. No fuel at all. We do not use fuel. We do not create pollution. Sorry. We do not create pollution by using bicycle. So it does not hurt the environment, no, because bicycle it uses pedal power, which we do ourselves. So this means that the rider must use their legs to push the pedals, which turns the wheels. So it is a very healthy way to travel because it is a great workout for your heart and for your muscles. So bicycle then is what kind of transport? Since it is powered by humans, yeah, we don't use fuel at all. It would be very hard to do that on air, right? So air transport will not be our answer. So that's already um wrong. As well as traffic terms. This is not a particular traffic terms. This is a vehicle, not a transportation vehicle. But what kind? Is it land transport or water transport? Of course, this will not be a water transport because it would be very hard to do so. Again, we do not use fuel here. It doesn't hurt the environment. So we're just using pedals. No, we are relying on pedal power, and we cannot pedal our way using bicycle in the water, in the seas, in the rivers, and any kind of bodies of water. So it's not a traffic term, it's not air transport, it's not water transport. So the answer is land transport. Okay. Do we have the same answer? Are we good to go? Okay, let's check. Yes, that is correct. Okay, let's move on to the second item. What type of transport is submarine? Okay, again, what type of transport is submarine? Now, remember everyone that submarine, it is a very special and complex vehicle that travels deep, deep where? Where do you think it is? It's deep. Of course, um it's not considered as a public transport because as I've already mentioned, it is very special and very complex vehicle. So that would not be public transport because public transport by definition is It can cater to the public. It can cater to the people for commuting. So that is the public transport. How about land transport? Land transport, it would also not be land transport because I've mentioned that it is designed to travel deep. So that would be impossible to do that in land transport because we do not dig. No, we do not dig soil. We do not dig the land to travel there, usually. Okay? So that is not land transport. How about air transport? Are we going to go deep in the air? Of course not. So our answer here would be water transport. Why do you think it is water transport? No? Because here, submarine by definition, it travels deep underwater. Okay? In comparison to other water transportation vehicle that stays on top of the water, a submarine is built to sink below the surface and move through the dark ocean. So that is a submarine. So it is basically a submersible machine. So submarines, if you remember it correctly, they are shaped like long, thin cylinders or cigars. So this particular shape, it helps them move smoothly through the water without making a lot of noise or using too much energy. So that is a submarine. Again, what is our answer here? Not public, not land, not air, but it is water transport. Okay, you're correct. All right, we're down to our third item for the first exercise. Next, we have what type of transport is hot air balloon? So we are talking about um hot air balloon. So hot air balloon, if you remember it correctly, what do you think it is? What is hot air balloon? Hot air balloon, it is the oldest and most peaceful way for humans to experience flight, right? It is not a machine with, a loud engine or heavy metal wings. Instead, it consists of a giant fabric bag called an envelope that is filled with air. So underneath the balloon, there is a large, strong basket made of wood or wicker where the passengers and pilots stand during the flight. So they rely on hot air because hot air is lighter than the cold air. Okay, I think this would be very easy because from the name itself, there's already signifier, there's already a hint, right? So what type of transport is hot air balloon? What do you think? You can type it in our chat box. No, share your answer. I will constantly check the stream. Okay, what do you think is this one? Oh, hot air balloon, hot air balloon. So that is, yes, that is an air transportation vehicle. Okay, well done. All right, let's move on to our fourth item. What type of transport is tram? Just like this one. What type of transport is tram? Again, what type of transport is tram? Now remember, a tram is a type of rail vehicle that travels on tracks built directly into the public streets. So they look like a mix between a bus and a train because they share the road with cars and bicycles. They move at a slower, safer speed than a subway. So trams are very common in Europe and parts of Australia, and they add a very charming and classic look to a city's landscape. Okay, so that is a tram. Now, what kind of transportation vehicle is tram? Is it water transport, air transportation, public transportation, or land transportation? Okay, you can guess, or you can, as much as possible, you can try to answer. I will be giving you 30 seconds to do so. You can answer no. Okay, what is the answer? What do you think is the answer? Okay, let's try to do elimination. This is tram is basically not a water transport, right? Because I've mentioned it travels by land or it travels by land. Now, that is also not an air transport. So our option here is it could either be public transport or land transportation vehicle. Now, everyone remember, students remember that a tram is a type of vehicle that is built directly into the public streets. So this is for the public. This is for commuting. So what do you think is this? Is it public transport or land transport? Our answer here would be public transportation vehicle. Okay? All right. So well done. Correct. That's correct. Let's move on to the next item. What type of transport is a traffic light? Not a transportation vehicle, but what type of category? Let's just say category. What type of category is traffic light? Is it traffic term, air transport, water transport, land transport? Now, this will be very easy because I've mentioned this is a transportation vehicle. So, among the four, there's only one category that is not pertaining to transportation vehicle, and that is the traffic term. So, traffic light is a traffic term. Okay, perfect. Next, what type of transport is a motorcycle? Okay, this is a transportation vehicle. Motorcycle, this looks like a bike, but it has an engine compared to a bicycle. So, what kind of transportation vehicle was the bike? It is a land transportation. So, this is the correct answer. They have the same type of category. Okay? All right, correct. Next, what type of transport is submarine? Oh, we've already answered this one, right? This is a water transport. Awesome. How about hot air balloon? Oh, I've already mentioned this one already. I think the items are repeating. No, my bad and my mistake. So this is again an air transportation vehicle. Oh, great job. How about tram? Oh, this is also recurring. Again, our answer here is public transport. And then last one, what type of category is speed limit? So among the four items, there's only one that's not a transportation vehicle because speed limit is not a transportation vehicle. What do we mean by speed limit? Everyone, what do we mean by speed limit? Anyone? When we say speed limit, it is the maximum legal speed that a vehicle is allowed to travel on a specific stretch of road. So, speed limit signs indicate safe driving speed. So, these limits are not arbitrary, they are carefully calculated by engineers based on the type of road, the amount of traffic, the presence of people or hazards nearby. So the goal of speed limit is to balance the need for fast travel with the absolute necessity of safety. So that is speed limit. And that is not a transportation vehicle. So our answer would be traffic terms because that's the only one that's not pertaining to transportation vehicle. Okay, perfect. So, outstanding, you're a transportation expert. Although some items were duplicated, I hope everybody got all the answers correct. Okay, so we are going to go back to menu. That is for the first exercise. Everyone, I hope you did a great job on that one. Did we? Or did you? Have you done a great job? Okay, I hope so. All right. Again, that is our first exercise. Let's go back to the menu and do the second exercise. Okay. Exercise number 2 is also easy. We're just going to answer if the statement is true or false. Again, we're going to answer if the statement is true or false. Let's start. Okay, I'm so sorry for that. Now, um, PSA, I may be pausing, no, at times because I'm really sick, everyone. But I will, of course, I will, of course, do my very best to facilitate the whole um, session. Okay? All right. Now, again, for exercise number two, your answer are you have two options to answer. Is it true if the statement is correct? Is it false if the statement is wrong? Now, click true if it's correct, click false if it's not. Okay? All right. Let's start. The statement is a car travels on land. Again, a car travels on land. Now, what is a car? Do we remember what a car is? It is like this one. No, the one in the picture. It is a vehicle with four wheels and an engine that is used to carry a small number of people from one place to another. That is a car. Now, um, a car, as mentioned here, a car travels on land. Is it true or false? Again, you can always use the chat box to answer. Okay. I am constantly checking the chat box so as to recognize or acknowledge your answers. Okay. Again, a car travels on land. Is it true or false? This is, of course, true. Okay. It travels on land. The car travels on land. Let's see. Okay, great job. Let's move on to the next one. A submarine flies in the air. Again, a submarine flies in the air. Is it true or false? Okay, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to answer this one. Go. Okay. What do you think is the answer? A submarine flies in the air. Now let's go back deep underwater. So, does it fly in the air? Of course not. Okay? Because it travels deep underwater. So this is a water transportation vehicle because what we are describing here flies in the air, that is or that pertains to air transportation vehicle. So this is false. Okay, well done. Next, a helicopter is an air transport. Okay, a helicopter, this one is an air transport. What do you think is the answer for this one? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to answer. Go. Okay, again, we go back to the statement. A helicopter is an air transport vehicle. Now, How do we define helicopter? What is a helicopter? Remember, a helicopter, just like in the picture, this is a unique and very different type of vehicle because in comparison to other type of vehicle that is on the same category, it does not have long, flat, fixed wings. So it has large spinning blades on top, which we call the rotors. So helicopter is, it moves straight up and down. They do not need a long runway to take off. They can land on small spaces like the roof of a hospital, the deck of a ship, a small clearing in a forest. So that is a helicopter. Now, upon hearing those descriptions, what is our answer here? Again, the statement a helicopter is an air transportation vehicle. That is true because we've mentioned that it has fixed wings. We use fixed wings or we use the term wings if we refer to air transportation vehicle. Okay? So this is true. Next, a ferry. A ferry travels on water. Okay, 30 seconds, go. Okay, all right. Our statement here is a ferry travels on water. Now remember what a ferry is? It is a special kind of ship that acts like a bus but on water. Okay, so this statement is correct. Again, a ferry, it crosses the river every hour. So ferries usually travel back and forth between two specific places, like two sides of a river or between a city and an island. Okay, so that is ferry. So this is correct or true. Okay, well done. Next statement, a bicycle needs fuel to run. 30 seconds, go. Okay. What is the statement again? A bicycle needs fuel to run. Now, we've already talked about this earlier, right? On our first exercise. How do we define bicycle? A bicycle or a bike is a vehicle with two wheels that is powered by a human being. So, it is very eco-friendly in a way that it does not hurt the environment because it does not use fuel or create pollution. So it relies on pedal power. So a bicycle needs fuel to run is a false statement. Okay, well done. Next, a helmet is a safety gear. Okay, 30 seconds, go. Okay, let's have again, the statement is a helmet is a safety gear. Now, is it a true statement or not? True or false? What do you think? Again, everyone, you can always use the chat box for answers. Okay? Now, how do we define a helmet? How do we define a helmet? What is a helmet? Okay, a helmet, as you can see on the picture, that is essential for protection. Okay, it is used when riding a bicycle, it is used when riding a motorcycle. So that is a helmet. No, where do we put it? We put it on our head because the head is the most sensitive and important part of the human body. So the helmet was invented to act as a personal shield. It is a piece of safety equipment that every rider, regardless of their age or experience, should wear every single time they get on a bicycle or a motorcycle. So a helmet is a safety gear is a true statement. Okay, correct. Next, a traffic light helps control traffic. Okay, 30 seconds, go. Okay. Again, our statement is a traffic light helps control traffic. I think this is very easy. No? What do we mean by traffic light? A traffic light is an electronic signal located at intersections where two or more roads meet. So its primary job is to control the flow of vehicles safely. So you can think of a traffic light as a digital police officer that stands in the middle of the street telling everyone when it is their turn to move. So these lights are or these lights use a universal language of colors that is the same almost everywhere in the world. The one you can see here in this picture, that is, those are the colors that they are using. Again, let's do a quick review. Red is for stop. Okay, so when the light is red, all vehicles must come to a complete halt and wait behind the line. Yellow or amber, this color means caution or prepare to stop. It warns the driver that the light is about to change red. So it is a signal to slow down, not to speed up. Okay? Next is green, which means go. So if the intersection is clear and it is safe, the driver can move forward into the street. So that is the meaning. Again, red is for stop, yellow is for caution or prepare to stop, and green is for go. So a traffic light helps control traffic. That is a true statement. Next, a taxi is a private transport only for one person. 30 seconds, go. Okay, going back, a taxi is a private transport for only one person. Our answer here is again, let's try to define what a taxi is. Okay? Remember, a taxi is a land transportation vehicle. Now, what is a taxi? What do you think is a taxi? No, it is more of yes, it is a land transportation vehicle, but a taxi is also more of a public transportation vehicle. Why do you think so? Why is it a public transportation vehicle? No, a taxi. Because a taxi, which is often called a cab, it is a car that you hire to take you exactly where you want to go. Unlike buses or trains that follow a set path, taxis provide convenient point to point rides. So, this means a taxi will pick you up at your front door and drop you off exactly at the entrance of your destination. So, most taxis. No, most taxis are painted bright colors like yellow, like white, so they are easy to see in a busy street. So that is a taxi. So this is a convenient personal ride. So a taxi is a private transport only for one person is true. No, it's false. I'm sorry. It is false. I did some, sorry, I did some correction on that. Taxi is not only for one person, though you can ride it on your own. Okay, so you can ride it with your friend, you can ride it with your relative or your family or anyone, as long as um you are going in the same direction. Okay, that is a taxi. Next, a crosswalk is where pedestrians cross safely. 30 seconds, go. Okay. Going back, a crosswalk is where pedestrians cross safely. I think this is, you can answer it directly from the name itself because cross walk and then cross safely, and then you can see the person here walking, right? It is crossing the street. So a crosswalk is where pedestrians cross safely. That is what? A true or false statement. How do we define crosswalk? Now, from the name itself, crosswalk is specifically designated area on the road where pedestrians, like people who are walking, are allowed to cross the street. Okay, so this statement is true. Well done. Next, a jet is slower than a bicycle. Go. Okay. Going back, the statement is a jet is slower than a bicycle. What is a jet? Do we remember what a jet is? That is a or an air transportation vehicle, right? How do we define jet? A jet is the king of speed. Okay? So a jet it is a high-speed aircraft powered by one or more powerful jet engines. So there are smaller planes which use propellers. A jet engine, on the other hand, it works by pulling air inside, by squeezing it and blasting it out the back with great force. So this particular thrust, it pushes the jet forward at an incredible speed. So that's why jet has its own nickname, the king of speed. So when we say a jet is slower than a bicycle, that is a false statement. Okay? Next. Oh, that's the last one. So we've got 9 over 10 questions correct because I misclicked the one with the taxi. Okay? So that is our score for the second exercise. Let's go back to the menu and let's recheck the answer. Let's try to review. We are going to complete 2 exercises for this evening. For tomorrow, we are going to continue with the remaining 3 exercises. Now, what did we do today? We did the exercise 1 and exercise 2. Exercise 1 is category match. Exercise 2 is true or false. So let's try to do a review of what we've answered for the 2 exercises. Let's do this one, which we have all 50 items. Okay? Again, what type of transport is motorcycle? Do we remember it? That is a land transportation vehicle. How about boat? You can already see in the picture that is on top of the water. So that is a water transportation vehicle. How about biplane? Now, biplane was not mentioned earlier, right? What is a biplane? How do we define biplane? Biplane, everyone, it is a classic style of aircraft that is easily recognized because it has 2 sets of wings stacked on top, one on the top of the other. So this design is very common in the early days of flight, over 100 years ago. So most modern airplanes only have 1 set of wings, which we call monoplanes. But many people still love biplanes today because of their beautiful vintage look and their unique history. So, yes, biplane, that is considered as, of course, not a public transportation vehicle. Land transportation, no. How about water? Also, no. No. So, biplane is an air transportation vehicle. Perfect. Next, what type of transport is tram? Again, tram is this one. More like not really that one because tram we can. It's like this one. It's like a train, but you can see it on the road. So that's why it travels really slow. So tram is a public transport. Okay, because it's for the public. It's for commuting. Okay. Next, what type of category is traffic light? Now, traffic light, it is not a transportation vehicle. Okay? So it is a category. What type of category? Among the 4 options, there's only one that's not a transportation vehicle category, and that is traffic term. Now, let's do a review. What do we mean if the color is red? That is that is a stop. How about yellow? That is caution or prepare to stop. How about green? That is go. So again, what type of category is traffic light? That is traffic terms. Next, what type of transport is car? Okay, again, car is a four-wheeled vehicle. that accommodate a few people, no, for personal riding. So a car, as mentioned earlier, as established earlier, that is a land transportation vehicle. How about a boat? We can already see in the picture that is on top of the water transportation vehicle. Next, what type of transport is biplane? Okay, this was already answered. That is an air transport. Taxi, that is again, what is a taxi? This is personal convenience for personal convenience. This is for public transport. Okay, it is for everybody. So this is not private, but a public transportation vehicle. Next, what type of transport or category is speed limit? So we're referring to category, and again, out of all the four options, there's only one that is not the transportation vehicle category. Again, what is the speed limit? This is the legal speed allowed for any kind of vehicle in this particular street or road. Okay, so speed limit is a what? It is a traffic term. Next, a car, so we move on to true or false. A car travels on land. Again, our answer here is true. How about a submarine flies in the air? Again, a submarine, it looks like a cylinder that travels deep underwater. So this is a false statement. Next, a helicopter is an air transport. Okay, this one, that is true. Next, a ferry travels on water. I guess you can guess it. Oh, you can see the water here. This type of transportation vehicle is, you know, it travels on water and it stays on top of the water. So this is true. A bicycle needs fuel to run. Again, bicycle relies on pedal power. So this is false because we've established that a bicycle is eco-friendly, right? So eco-friendly being it does not harm the environment because it does not use any kind of fuel. Okay? Doesn't use any kind of fuel. It is human powered. So this is false. Next, a helmet is a safety gear. A helmet is a safety gear. Again, helmet is for motorcycle or bicycle riders because they are open. So it is a safety gear. This is a correct statement. Next, a traffic light helps control traffic. This is a correct statement. Why? Because it has signals that allow for transportation vehicles, especially land transportation or public transportation vehicle, to travel smoothly, especially in the intersections. So this is a true statement. Next, a taxi is a private transport only for one person. Again, a taxi is a private transport only for one person. Again, a taxi is a private transport only for one person. Now, we've already person. It's either you are solo or you have a companion, a friend, a family, a relative with you. So it does not wait for another customer. It doesn't wait for another rider that is not related to you or stranger to you. So that is a taxi because it's personal convenient transportation vehicle, but it is still considered a public transportation vehicle. No, it's not private. It's not only for one person, no, for that particular um user. Okay? So this is a false statement. Next, a crosswalk is where pedestrians cross safely. Okay, this is definitely a true statement. Okay, because of course, on the road, um, there are multiple times that we have to cross it. So what is done is that there is, lines, white lines. There are white lines or strips that looks like a zebra pattern where the pedestrians can cross safely. So this is a true statement because it is called as crosswalk, no? The one that where pedestrians cross safely. So this is a true statement. Next, a jet is slower than a bicycle. Again, we've established that a jet is the king of speed. Again, jet is the king of speed. So, in comparison to a bicycle, which is human powered, pedal power only, does not use fuel. So, it depends on the user. But still, even if it depends on the user, a bicycle speed cannot outdo the speed of a jet because the speed of a jet is really very fast. So this is a false statement. Okay. And that is all for this evening, everyone. So we did two exercises for this evening. We did a category match. We also did a true or false statement. On our next meeting, which will be tomorrow evening, we will do the remaining exercises. Exercise number 3, fill the blank. Exercise 4, add one out. And exercise 5, drag and sort, which allows us to complete the set of exercises that has 50 items in total. Okay, so that is on transportation quizzes or transportation exercises where we learn about different types of transportation. Now, any questions before we end? Any questions that you would like me to address? You can always use the chat box, everyone. Now, remember that after the transportation exercises, set of quiz, we are going to move on or continue with another topic. Now, what do you think is our topic will be? The topic we've already did. Let's go back to the topics that we did. No? As far as I can remember, aside from the transportation vehicle, we also did people, right? No, vocabulary about people. Aside from people, we also included food and then much more topics that we've tapped on. Okay? So again, any questions, everyone? Our next topic after the set of quizzes will be on vocabulary for places. Okay, so we're going to talk about that after tomorrow. So, the day after tomorrow, we are going to start with another topic. Okay, I think there are no questions. Everybody is everybody has understood everything. I hope so. Everything is clear. I hope so, because of course we all did this so as for you to learn something about the English language. If you have any questions that may pop up later on, not during now or not now, you can always question me you can always question me during our tomorrow's stream. Okay, you can question me there. You can type in your question and I will read it and acknowledge you. Okay, I guess there are no more things that are undone. Again, we're going to continue with 3 more exercises tomorrow. See you all, everyone, and have a good night ahead. Goodbye.